The rain came down in sheets that October night, turning Boston's streets into rivers of neon and shadow. Alexander Reynolds sat in his Mercedes outside the Opera House, watching droplets race down the windshield like tears. At 38, he had built an empire through careful calculation and ruthless efficiency. He was the man other men feared, the name whispered in back rooms of Boston's underworld, the Frost. But tonight, with Raymond Sullivan's funeral still fresh in his mind, he just felt hollow. The passenger door suddenly flew open. A man tumbled inside, soaking wet and clutching a small bundle wrapped in blankets. He was young, maybe late 20s, with blonde hair plastered to his face and terror in his eyes. "Please," he gasped. "Can I hide in your car just for a minute?" The bundle in his arms shifted, revealing a small boy no more than 4 years old, eyes wide with fear. "Lock the doors," the man begged. Alex's hand moved instinctively toward the weapon concealed in his jacket, but then he saw the bruise darkening across the stranger's cheekbone. The little boy trembled, burying his face in his father's chest. Alex pressed the lock button just as another man appeared on the street, tall, impeccably dressed despite the rain, his face contorted with rage. "Stay down," Alex said quietly, his voice carrying an authority that made the stranger obey without question. The well-dressed man passed by the car, scanning each vehicle with the focused intensity of a predator. Alex watched in his mirrors until the figure disappeared around a corner. "He's gone," Alex said. The blond man slowly sat up, his whole body shaking. "Thank you," he whispered. "I'm Tyler. This is my son, Mason." Tyler held the boy closer. "That was James, my ex. I left him 6 months ago, but he found us tonight. I had to run." Alex studied Tyler's face, the split lip, the fading bruise, the way he held himself like someone who had learned to make himself small. It reminded him of himself at 17, the night his father had discovered him kissing another boy, the night everything changed. "I know a place where you'll be safe," Alex said, making a decision that would change everything. "Somewhere he won't find you." Tyler hesitated. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." Alex started the car, the engine purring to life. "Because 20 years ago, someone helped me when no one else would, and I made a promise I'd pay it forward." As they drove through rain-slicked streets, Alex's mind drifted to Raymond's last words: "Find something worth saving." Alex, something beyond power and fear. Looking at his rearview mirror, at the father whispering reassurances to his frightened son, Alex wondered if perhaps he already had. If you've ever faced a moment where a single decision changed everything, where kindness came from the most unexpected place, this story will resonate with you. Subscribe to Heart Stories for more powerful tales about second chances, unexpected connections, and the courage to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Back Bay penthouse stood 18 floors above Boston, far removed from searching eyes. As Alex led Tyler and Mason inside, the little boy clung to his father, wide-eyed at the vast space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The apartment was immaculately furnished but impersonal, a safe house rather than home. "You'll stay here," Alex said, showing them to a bedroom with an adjoining children's room. "There's food in the kitchen, clothes in the closet. The building has security better than most government buildings." Tyler set Mason down, kneeling to his level. "Why don't you explore your room? Buddy, I need to talk to the nice man." Once Mason was out of earshot, Tyler turned to Alex, wariness replacing gratitude. "I appreciate your help, but I need to understand what you want in return." The question wasn't accusatory, just the cautious calculation of someone who had learned that kindness usually came with conditions. Alex recognized it because he'd perfected that same calculation years ago. "I want nothing from you," Alex replied, pouring 2 glasses of water. "This apartment is one of many I keep for people who need to disappear." "And why would you have places for people to disappear?" Tyler asked, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. Alex considered lying. It would be easier. But something in Tyler's direct gaze demanded truth. "Because my business, boss, sometimes requires discretion." He set the glass down. I own legitimate real estate throughout Boston, but my other enterprises operate in shadows. Tyler didn't flinch. You're in organized crime. I prefer alternative dispute resolution, Alex said with a hint of dark humor. But yes, instead of fear, Tyler's expression showed something unexpected recognition. You're Alexander Reynolds, the Frost. He lowered his voice. James mentioned you once, said you were someone even he wouldn't cross. Alex raised an eyebrow. Your ex knows of me. James Mitchell is a criminal defense attorney with political connections. He represents half the corrupt officials in Massachusetts. Tyler's voice hardened. His public face is impeccable, but behind closed doors, he gestured to his bruised face. Mason's laughter from the other room broke the tension. Tyler's shoulders slumped. I was a concert pianist before I met James. Played at Symphony Hall. He was representing the orchestra in a contract dispute. He seemed so... Tyler trailed off. I gave up my career when we married. He said it was temporary, but then he controlled everything, my friends. My schedule, my money. Alex listened silently, remembering his own past. I was 17 when my father caught me with another boy. He was a minister in Nebraska, deeply conservative. He gave me one night to pack before throwing me out. Said I'd brought shame on the family name. Tyler looked up, surprise in his eyes at Alex's disclosure. I lived on streets until Raymond found me. Alex continued. He was a gay Vietnam vet who ran a shelter. He saved my life, gave me purpose. When I built my business, he never judged my choices, but he never stopped believing I could be better than my circumstances. A knock at the door interrupted them. Alex checked the security feed to find Detective Olivia Ramirez, his contact within Boston PD. James Mitchell filed a missing persons report. Olivia reported without preamble. Claims his partner abducted their son. He's leveraging every connection to find them. Tyler paled. He'll never stop. His family has money, influence. He's also connected to Victor Kasanov, Olivia added, glancing at Alex. Intercepted calls show they've been in contact. Alex's expression hardened. Kasanov, the Russian crime boss who had been trying to muscle into Alex's territory for years. So this isn't just domestic abuse. It's something more. Later that night, after Tyler and Mason had fallen asleep, Alex made a call to his right-hand man, Marcus Chen. I need everything on James Mitchell. And I mean everything. As rain continued to beat against the windows, Alex watched the sleeping city below. Raymond had once told him that real strength wasn't in power over others, but in using your power to protect. For the first time in years, Alex felt the weight of those words settling into something like purpose. 2 weeks passed in tense vigilance. Tyler and Mason settled into a cautious routine, while Alex divided his time between his legitimate business operations and gathering intelligence on James Mitchell. The pattern revealed itself piece by piece. James wasn't just connected to Kasanov, he was laundering money for the Russians' operation through his law practice, using political connections to shield them from scrutiny. On a stormy Wednesday morning, the security system triggered. Alex arrived at the penthouse to find Marcus already there, monitoring feeds. Mitchell and 3 of Kasanov's men, they're in the lobby, overriding security. Tyler emerged from the bedroom, face pale. He found us. Take Mason to the panic room, Alex instructed, revealing a hidden door in the hallway. Stay there until I come for you. As Tyler disappeared with his son, Alex turned to Marcus. Call Olivia, tell her we have an attempted breaking and entering, but stress that she should come alone. When James and his Russian escorts reached the penthouse door, they found Alex waiting calmly in an armchair, a glass of whiskey in hand. Mr. Mitchell, breaking and entering isn't becoming of an officer of the court. James surveyed the room, eyes cold. Where are they? Not here, Alex replied. Though I'm curious why Boston's most prominent defense attorney would associate with Kasanov's enforcers, the Bar Association might have questions. James smiled thinly. I have a missing child case. These gentlemen are private security. Alex set down his glass. Let's stop pretending. I know about the money laundering, the offshore accounts, the judges you've bribed. He retrieved a folder from the side table. And the hospital reports from Tyler's 3 accidents in the past year. James's composure slipped. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Actually, I do, Alex countered, rising to his full height. You're a man who beats his partner, terrorizes his child, and thinks his connections make him untouchable. Alex stepped closer. But you've miscalculated. Tyler and Mason are under my protection now. Protection, James scoffed. Do you know why I want the boy? He pulled out his phone, displaying a document. Tyler's father died 6 months ago. Mason is the sole heir to a $50 million trust. As his legal father, I control that money until he's 21. Understanding dawned on Alex. This had never been about love or family. It was about money, control, power, the same currencies he himself had traded in for years. The standoff was interrupted by Olivia's arrival with uniformed officers. Gentlemen, this is a private residence. You're trespassing. As James was escorted out, he leaned close to Alex. This isn't over. Reynolds, I have friends everywhere. You can't protect them forever. Later that evening, Alex found Tyler in the living room. Mason finally asleep after hours of nightmares. You heard everything, Alex said. Not a question. Tyler nodded. My father never approved of me being gay. When he died, he left everything to Mason, bypassing me entirely. He looked up at Alex. I didn't tell you about the money because it didn't matter. I just wanted us safe. I believe you, Alex said, settling across from him. But you should know the FBI is investigating me for racketeering and money laundering. By staying here, you're associating with someone who could eventually face federal charges. Tyler didn't hesitate. You've risked everything to help us. Where else would we go? The next morning brought another visitor, Michael Reynolds, Alex's brother, now a minister like their father had been. 20 years of silence hung between them as they faced each other. I found you through Raymond's obituary, Michael explained. Before he died, he asked me to give you this. He handed over a letter. And to tell you our church operates a shelter network. If you need somewhere truly safe for your friends, somewhere no one would look. Alex studied his brother, searching for judgment, but finding only regret. Why would you help me after all this time? Michael's answer was simple. Because I failed you once, I won't do it again. That night, Alex laid out the options for Tyler to disappear into Michael's shelter network. Enter witness protection by testifying against James, or stay under Alex's increasingly complicated protection. Tyler's decision came without hesitation. I'm tired of running, of hiding who I am. He reached for Alex's hand, the first time they'd touched beyond necessity. I choose to stay with you. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Spring came to Boston, thawing the city from winter's grip. In the penthouse, transformations unfolded in quiet moments. Tyler had begun playing piano again, his fingers finding their way back to the keys on the baby grand Alex had delivered without explanation. The music filled the space with something the safe house had never known: life. Alex watched from the doorway as Tyler played a Chopin nocturne. Mason curled beside him on the bench, small hands mimicking his father's movements. Something shifted in Alex's chest, an unfamiliar warmth that both comforted and terrified him. You're very good at hiding, Tyler said without looking up, his fingers never faltering on the keys. But not from us anymore. The legal battle had intensified. Sarah Goldman, the formidable attorney Alex had hired, was building a case against James that went beyond domestic abuse to include financial crimes and corruption. Meanwhile, Tyler had connected with other survivors from James's past 3 former partners who had been silenced through intimidation and payoffs. Their testimonies painted a pattern that even James's political connections couldn't easily dismiss. One afternoon, Alex returned to find Mason struggling to breathe, an asthma attack triggered by anxiety after a nightmare about James. Without hesitation, Alex swept the boy into his arms and drove him to the hospital, using his influence to bypass waiting rooms and bureaucracy. You're okay, buddy. Alex whispered, holding Mason's hand as doctors worked. I've got you. When Tyler arrived, panicked and breathless, he found Mason sleeping peacefully, Alex maintaining a protective vigil. Tyler collapsed into the chair beside him, their shoulders touching. Thank you, he whispered, voice raw, for saving him. Always, Alex replied, the word a promise he hadn't intended to make, but found he meant completely. That night, after bringing Mason home, Tyler found Alex on the balcony, city lights glittering below like fallen stars. You've changed, Tyler observed, joining him at the railing. Alex smiled faintly. Raymond always said I had potential. Tell me about him, Tyler requested. The man who saved you. As midnight approached, Alex shared stories of Raymond, the Vietnam vet who created a shelter for LGBTQ+ youth, who taught Alex that strength came in many forms, who believed in redemption, even for a boy who had hardened himself against the world. He never gave up on me, even when I gave him every reason to. That's why you're creating the Second Chance Foundation. Tyler realized. It's for him. Alex nodded. The foundation, designed to support LGBTQ+ youth rejected by their families, had started as a money laundering front, but had evolved into something genuine, something Raymond would have been proud of. I've been making changes to my business, Alex admitted. Legitimizing operations, cutting ties with certain elements. Marcus thinks I'm having a midlife crisis. Tyler laughed, the sound carrying on the night breeze. Then, with a courage born from months of healing, he reached for Alex's hand. Or maybe you're finally becoming who you were meant to be. Their first kiss came naturally, inevitable as dawn. No desperate passion, just the quiet recognition of two souls who had weathered similar storms and found harbor in each other. Later that week, FBI agents raided James's office, uncovering evidence that implicated half the city's political establishment. Alex watched the news with Marcus, aware of the thin line he himself walked. They'll come for us eventually, Marcus observed. Maybe, Alex acknowledged. But by then, there might not be anything left to find. That evening, as Tyler played piano and Mason built elaborate Lego creations, Alex realized something profound. The empire he'd built through fear and intimidation meant nothing compared to this, a makeshift family forged in adversity, strengthened by choice rather than obligation. In trying to save Tyler and Mason, Alex had inadvertently saved himself. Raymond had been right all along. True power wasn't in being feared, it was in being loved. The courthouse stood austere against the autumn sky, columns reaching toward clouds heavy with coming rain. Inside, the custody hearing had entered its third day. Tyler sat straight back beside Sarah Goldman, his eyes never leaving James across the aisle. The testimony had been brutal medical records, financial evidence, witnesses to James's abuses laid bare for the court. Alex watched from the gallery, Michael beside him in silent support. The brothers had begun rebuilding what 20 years of silence had destroyed, finding common ground in their shared desire to protect Tyler and Mason. James's attorney called his final witness a private investigator who displayed photos of Alex outside known mob hangouts. Tyler Williams has fled from a respected attorney into the arms of a known criminal, the lawyer declared. Alexander Reynolds is being investigated for racketeering. Is this truly the environment where a child should be raised? The courtroom fell silent. The judge turned to Tyler. Mr. Williams, do you wish to respond to these allegations? Tyler stood slowly. Your Honor, when I fled with my son, I had nothing, no money, no support system, nowhere safe to go. Alexander offered shelter without conditions. He showed Mason kindness when his own father showed only cruelty. Tyler's voice strengthened. James Mitchell presents himself as respectable while privately terrorizing those who love him. Alex may have a complicated past, but he has never pretended to be anything other than what he is, a man trying to be better today than he was yesterday. During recess, Olivia arrived with urgent news. Kasanov's men had been spotted near the courthouse. They're not here for a verdict, she warned. They want the boy, leverage over both of you. Alex made a decision. Get Tyler and Mason out through the back. Take them to Michael's church. He turned to his brother. Keep them safe. What are you going to do? Michael asked. End this, Alex replied. My way. Instead of violence, Alex chose a different path. He walked directly to James and Casanov waiting in a black SUV across from the courthouse. It's over, Alex told them, sliding into the back seat. The FBI has your banking records, witness testimony, everything, but I'm offering you a way out. He presented an alternative. James would drop all claims to Mason and disappear overseas with funds Alex would provide. In exchange, Alex would ensure certain evidence against Casanov never reached federal prosecutors. Why would you negotiate when you could simply eliminate us? Casanov asked. Alex's smile was cold. Because I'm not that man anymore. And because either way, I win. Choose wisely. When the judge delivered her verdict, full custody to Tyler, no visitation rights for James, the courtroom was notably empty of both James and Casanov. They had chosen self-preservation over vengeance, fleeing the country ahead of federal indictments. 2 years later, a Victorian home in Beacon Hill glowed with warmth against December snow. Inside, Mason, now 6, practiced piano while Alex helped him with fingering. The boy called him Papa, now had done so since the adoption was finalized the previous spring. Tyler entered from the kitchen, smiling at the scene. Dinner's almost ready. Did you remind Kevin his social worker is coming tomorrow? Alex nodded, glancing toward the stairs where their newest family member, a 13-year-old transgender boy they were in the process of adopting, was settling in. The Second Chance Foundation had grown, supporting dozens of LGBTQ+ youth across Massachusetts, with Michael's church network providing safe houses and support services. Later that evening, after the boys were asleep, Tyler and Alex sat before the fireplace, fingers intertwined. A letter came today, Alex said quietly. From my mother. Tyler squeezed his hand. Are you going to read it? I already did. Alex's voice was steady. She wants to meet, to apologize. She left my father last year. What will you tell her? Alex looked around their home at Mason's drawings on the refrigerator, at Kevin's school books on the table, at the photograph of Raymond now hanging beside their family portraits. That forgiveness takes time, but our door is open. The fire crackled, casting dancing shadows across the room. Outside, snow continued to fall, covering the city in gentle white. Within these walls, they had built something precious from the broken pieces of their pasts, a family defined not by blood but by choice, by love that had fought through darkness to find its way home. Have you ever found family in unexpected places, or witnessed how love can transform even the most wounded hearts? Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Heart Stories for more tales that remind us that sometimes the families we choose are the ones that save us in ways we never imagined possible.